Hello, online crew. How are you today? Hello, Facebook, YouTube. Hello, Instagram. Great to see you here today. We're going to talk about your worries today. How many of you are a self-confessed worrier? Or somebody that you overthink things a little bit too much and your mind goes a little bit crazy about ifs and buts and certain things. Who is honest enough to admit that they probably worry a little bit too much, more than they need to, or that you tend to overthink things? I would love to know if that's you. I know it is me at certain times. It doesn't matter how much work you sort of do on yourself. I think we have a tendency sometimes to overthink things or worry about things. It is general human nature. So the trick really is to learn how to control it. So if you are a little bit of a worrier and you are a little bit of an overthinker, how do you actually turn that around so it doesn't cause you stress and anxiety and all the things that come along with worrying too much, or overthinking things? So that's what we're going to talk about today. For those of you that are unaware, my first live video of the week generally is something to do with personal growth, personal development, something to help you think a little bit deeper about yourself and about life and about business and all those kind of things, so you can actually move forward and be the person that you need to be, that's worthy of a 6-7 figure business, somewhere along the line. So I'm a big believer that it's not necessarily the skills, although skills are really, really important to build a business online. It's you. It's how you think. It's how you, believe in yourself or not. It's the action that you take or don't take that's going to make you successful. So if we can make you the best version of you, and that's why I call this video Online Crew Courage, giving you the courage to be the best version of yourself so you can have the most amazing business that you want and achieve what you want, it really comes down to you. So that's why I talk about these things. If we have not met before, my name is Helen Martin and I am your online crew captain, and I am here to serve our amazing online crew here of entrepreneurs, home-based business owners, direct sellers, social sellers, all of the above. And you would like to use modern social media. I'm going to get rid of these dings. Hang on. You would like to use modern social media strategies to build your business online. I specialize in things like branding, video marketing, all the modern things that can help you be successful online. But we need to check in with ourselves and be the best version of ourselves to have an amazing business. Do you agree with that? I think most of you will know that at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to make your business work. It's not even your mentor's role, an upline, anything like that. At the end of the day, it comes down to you to have a successful business. So let's talk about that. Before I do, though, I just want to remind you of this link. This is the link that you want to check every week. Where is it? This one here that's on the screen. We update this link every Monday for what the events are coming up this week. So online crew coaching members, we've got a live Q&A Zoom call coming up after this live. So if you don't know the details, click on that link and it'll get you to them. Clubhouse tomorrow, we're talking about getting you organized. If you struggle with planning, organization, daily method of operation, time blocking, all those kind of things, join us on Clubhouse tomorrow. The details are on that link. So if you want to know what's coming up and the details of where I am and what I'm doing for a week, you want to check in on that link on every Monday, and that'll share the details with you. So coaching community members, I hope to see you on the live Zoom call in 25 minutes. So how are you? Who's here? Let me say hello to a few people and then we'll get into the content. We've got Faye, we've got Cherie, we've got a Facebook user, we've got me, whoever me is. Christina, so that might be overthinking is what you're answering there. Hello, Christina, how are you? Guilty of overthinking. Anna, overthinking at times. Joy, hi, how are you? Such a waste of time. I need to create new thought habits. So let's have a chat about that on today's live. I've been told I overthink things, but do you believe yourself that you overthink things? So that's the important thing, Cherie. You can't change anything you don't recognize yourself. So do you recognize that you overthink things, or you just think other people think you overthink things. Did that make sense, Cherie? It's important though. It's an important question for you. Do you think you overthink things or not? So the challenge there is we can't change anything we don't recognize. So do you recognize whether you're an overthinker? Not just for Cherie, but do you recognize whether you overthink things? Sometimes. Hey Dan, hey Laurie, hello Heather, hello Beth. Yes, it is such a valuable topic. And it's Kathy. One day StreamYard will be nice to you, Kathy. But good to see you guys all on. So let's get into the content here. Overthinking things and worrying is actually often not the truth. So what you tend to, when your mind sort of spirals, what if that, what if this, what are they thinking? Why haven't they answered? Especially in this business that we're in, what's the reason they haven't answered my message? Or, they've seen it, but they haven't responded. Why haven't they responded? Oh, it must be not a good outcome or whatever. Like your mind goes into a bit of a spin in this industry. We are full of questions and full of sometimes things that are not necessarily the truth. That's the first thing to recognize regarding worry and overthinking, is that you make up stuff in your head that is often not the truth. So worrying and overthinking is a complete waste of your time. And some of you spend a lot of time and energy worrying about things you shouldn't have, and it's not the truth anyway, and overthinking things that don't need to be overthunk. New word. I make up my own new words if you're new here. You just don't need to waste that energy. So what do we do about it? This is the important thing. Worrying causes stress and anxiety. It's not something you need to bring more of in your life. It's something that you want to try to minimize. So how do we do that? That's what we're here to talk about today. When you think about worrying, you worry about outcomes, you worry about what ifs, you worry about what maybe somebody else is thinking, you worry about what somebody else is going to say, you're worrying about somebody else's reaction, those kind of things. And often people aren't even thinking about you or worrying about you or have an opinion of you that you think they do, because they're worried about themselves. Does that make sense? So we often spend a lot of time and energy worrying about things that just don't exist. So what we want to learn to do is interrupt the thought pattern and get rid of it as quickly as you possibly can. Because when you stay in that mindset and you continue to worry and you continue to overthink things, that's when you can get all worked up. That's when you can get stressed. That's when you can get anxious. And generally it's over something that isn't really something. Does that make sense to you, what I just said? We spend a lot of energy worrying about things that we shouldn't. So what do we need to do? We need to face that head on, smack bang, every time it's entering your thought processes. We need to punch it in the face. Worry, go away. Overthinking, see you later. Are you up for that? That's it's just, I guess, one way of saying to you that you need to punch worry and overthinking in the face. So how do we do that? You've got to interrupt. It is a negative pattern of thinking. And I'll say it again. Worry and overthinking often is about things that are not the actual truth. Just take one example. You might send somebody a message. You might approach somebody about your business or something like that, and they read the message, but they don't answer. Your mind goes into overdrive. Well, they've seen it. Why didn't they answer? Oh, well, then now they're just ignoring me. Well, maybe they didn't like what I wrote. And you go into overdrive about the reasons. You're like overthinking the reason that somebody hasn't replied to your message, even though they've seen it. Now, reality is somebody might have just been in the moment where they've read your message and they're not in the time, space, energy. They're at work, they've read it, they don't have time to reply, so they reply later. That could be the reality. But where your head goes is, why haven't they answered? Like, what's the reason that they haven't answered? Where we take our brain sometimes is just a complete waste of time. So, what you want to recognize, number one, is when you're doing it. You can't change something when you don't recognize it. And if somebody is telling you, back to Cherie, if somebody's telling you you're overthinking things, your language is dictating that you're an overthinker. You're asking questions that you probably don't need to ask. You're over analyzing things that don't need to be over analyzed if you just looked at things logically. So if people have told you you're overthinking it, then whatever's coming out of your mouth, your language, is obviously determining that, and you're worrying about the little things, and you've lost the vision potentially because you're worried about little things that you shouldn't worry about. Most of us do that, by the way. I'm not directing that necessarily at Cherie. Most of us worry about things that we shouldn't do. So step one, you can't change anything you don't recognize. So if you know you're worrying about something, or you know you're majorly overthinking something and it's stopping you from taking action, especially in this business, it happens all the time. One, you have to recognize it. Oh, I'm majorly overthinking this. Or I'm really worrying about this. Like I can recognize that I'm not actually taking any action. I'm thinking about my business 99% of the day, but I'm not actually doing anything. So that's somebody that's overthinking trust me, it is very, very common in this industry that people overthink and they actually believe they're working really hard in their business, but they're only thinking about their business. They're not doing anything. They're not sending any messages. They're not prospecting. You're not posting enough on social media. You haven't worked out your brand. So you're talking to everybody and everybody like you're not doing the right things. But you're thinking about your business all the time. So you feel exhausted by your business and you're not making any money. Does that ring true to anybody? That's probably somebody that overthinks things. Because the only thing that makes this business model work is taking action and having more conversations and doing the do, not thinking about the do. Majority of people think about the do and don't do the do. So if you're somebody that thinks about the do and doesn't do the do, I bet you're an overthinker. Because you just need to get the job done. Take the necessary action. Okay. So back to step one, is interrupt the thought pattern by recognizing I'm overthinking. I'm worrying about this. What am I worrying about? And kind of dissecting it. And here's some words, and this comes from Mel Robbins. This is not my theory. This is science backed. So I would encourage you to use this because apparently it interrupts the brain waves. Is to say to yourself, so you've caught yourself worrying and overthinking. So one, you've caught yourself. Secondly, say to yourself, write these words down if you've got a pen. Say to yourself, well, what if it all works out? What if it all works out? 6 words. Write them down and say it to yourself every time you're worrying about something or you're overthinking something. What if it all works out? Change your worry and your overthinking to a positive thought. What if it all works out? What if it all works out? Try it on. If it's anything more complicated than that, you're going to worry about it and you're going to overthink it and you won't do it. So the reason that this is so simple is so you can actually go and do it and take the action. If there's a six-step process to stop worrying and stop overthinking, you'll start worrying and overthinking the 6-step process. Does that make sense? So it has to be a simple strategy to interrupt your negative thoughts and your worry. So I'll say it again. What if it all works out? Ask yourself that question. Well, what if it all works out? What if they do respond when they've got the time to? Or what if I just follow up and they respond positively? Like, what if it all works out? Give yourself something positive to say and think in the future as if it'll all work out instead of worrying about what's not going to work out or what people are going to think of you or what people are going to say to you. Don't let your brain go there. Let your brain anticipate that it's all going to work out. Is that simple enough for you to go in action? There is science behind this in relation to how your brain works in the way that you think. So when I said before, you need to smack it smack worry and overthinking in the face. So you do that by one, recognizing it, and then two, saying to yourself, what if it all works out? It'll all work out. What if it all works out? Same sort of thought process, but try it on. If you do it once, it won't work. You need to get into a habit. That's how you change your life. Change your thoughts, change your life. It's as simple as that. If you wake up in the morning thinking positively and thinking that everything's going to work out, it will, because you create what you think about the most. If you're a worrier and you're just worried about this and worried about that, and how am I going to do this in this amount of time frame, and I don't know where this is, and this is not working out, and blah, 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 and you're worrying about everything and you're overthinking everything, you will end up with endless amounts of stress and a business that is unsuccessful. Successful people don't think like that. They might still have worries and they might still overthink things, but you turn it around quickly. This is the biggest skill I've learnt over the last few years in being in the online world, in being in multiple businesses that I've created off my own back, is learning to pivot as quickly as I possibly can to negative things. Negative things are always going to happen. Business is going to go down. Customers will leave. Team members will leave. People will pass away. People will annoy you. Things will come up. Your car will break down. You've got money issues. Life is full of crappy things that are going to always continue to happen. No amount of personal development training is ever going to make your life 100% peachy keen and full of like roses. Stuff is always going to happen. But how you handle that is completely up to you. And you on that camera there. Okay, your life is up to you. If you're a worrywart and you overthink things, change it. Change the way you think. No one else can help you with that but you. If you want to change, you want to have a better life, a healthier life, a fantastic business, lots of money in the bank account, that's your responsibility, no one else's. And it starts with the way you think. If you know you stress, if you know you're overwhelmed, if you know you're worrying, tell your brain it'll all work out. I have this, and those of you that have been around me for a while, you would have heard me say this a number of times. I just have this thing in my head, even if things are not going well, that it's just going to work out. Have you heard me say that before, those of you that know me really well? I just trust that things work out the way that they're meant to work out, and even crappy things. And there's one thing in my business at the moment that's not going well at the moment, and it's just like, there's a lesson here for me. What is that? So I'm not down about that. It's like, what's the lesson I'm meant to learn in this? That's what you need to do with things that are not going very well. Okay, but as soon as the strategy for you to remember is when you know you're overthinking, you know you're stressing out, you know that you're worrying about things, is flip the switch on what you're thinking, because it's a choice to worry. Yes, it is. It's a choice to worry. It's a choice to overthink. So smack that head on and go, I don't want to be that person anymore. I don't want to be a worrier. I don't want to overthink things. I want to control, get back control, and have an amazing life, an amazing business, and amazing relationships, and lots of money in my bank account. That's up to you. So start by telling yourself, what if it all works out? It'll all work out. I tell myself that all the time, even in the shittiest times. I'm not sure why I'm going through this right now. This is not the way I intended it to be. This is, whatever's going on, but I trust that it'll all work out. Tell yourself that and stop endless brain space, moments, minutes, weeks, years thinking about crap that is probably not even true. You have a choice to lead your life in a certain way. Change your thoughts, change your life. But that's up to you. You can choose to think negatively and overthink and worry, or you can choose to interrupt it. interrupt it and say, it'll all work out. And give your energy to solutions and stop worrying. It frustrates me no end when people complain, 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 and they do nothing about it. And it's like, if you've gone on long enough complaining or sitting in a struggle, you need to shift your energy into looking for solutions. Otherwise, you stay stuck. And you stay stuck not only for days, but for weeks and sometimes even years. And I'm sure you don't want that for yourself. So be a solution seeker, not somebody that sits in their problems. Does that make sense? I'm so grateful for my journey over the last few years that's taught me that. So still things go wrong in my life. Things don't necessarily all go well, but I'm really good at shifting from a problem to a solution. And that's what I would really encourage you all to work on. If you're going to have a successful business online, you need to shift quickly into things that, are not going well. And if you know you're not taking a lot of action and you think a lot about your business and overthink a lot about your business, that's the first sign that you need to change the way that you think. Okay. Please know, as always, I don't say these topics or talk about these topics to lecture anybody. I share this with you to try to help you be a better version of yourself, because at the end of the day, the buck stops with you. Your life, your business, your bank account, it's up to you and no one else. So let's try and give you the courage to be the best version of yourself. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm going to go back to your comments after, because I got 5 minutes to jump on the live Q&A Zoom call with the coaching community. I want to thank you all here for being live. I hope this resonates with you in some way. And if you can just think about shifting from worrying and overthinking and negativity to it'll all work out, and being a solution seeker rather than sitting in your problems, your life will start to change. Trust me, it will. So give your energy to that. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me. Clubhouse tomorrow, we're going to get you organized. We're talking about DMOs and time blocking and planning and all the rest of it. So definitely join us on Clubhouse tomorrow, and I'll see you live back here the next day. And those of you in my branding course, I'll see you tomorrow on that live as well. Okay. See ya. Bye.